I said in earlier videos that pacing involves adapting to limits. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick way to get an overall idea of your limits, and in the next video, I'll describe how to define your limits in detail. As you can see from the chart, CFS and fibro varies greatly in severity. Some people are able to continue working, while others have their lives disrupted moderately. Still others are housebound and some are bedbound. The chart shows those 4 levels of severity and gives values in 3 areas. The severity of symptoms. Secondly, how often a person can leave the house each week. And third, the number of hours of work or work-like activity a person can do in a day. The latter includes housework, cooking, and cleaning, and so on. Both that and the number of times outside the house refer to how much a person can do without making their symptoms worse. Let me go over these one at a time. People with light cases have mild symptoms, and they can leave the house every day without making their symptoms worse, and they can work a full day or something close to it. I would estimate that something like 10% of the several thousand people who've taken our self-help course fit this description. So let me put that in, 10%. So it's possible, but definitely atypical if the group of people who've taken our course are representative. So second, we have people with moderate cases, and they have moderate symptoms. They can leave the house 4 or 5 times a week and do 4 or 5 hours of work or work-like activity around the house. And the number of people who fit into this category among the people who've been in our program is about 35%. Third category is housebound. That's people who have moderate to severe symptoms. They can leave the house 2 or 3 times a week and do 2 or 3 hours of work or work-like activity around the house. And among the people who've taken our class, I'd estimate about the same number as moderate can fit into this category, 35%. And lastly, people who are bedbound have severe symptoms. They spend much or even almost all of their time in bed and can only do a small amount of work. So you can probably calculate what's left here, and it's 10%. So the 4 categories are 10% light, 35% moderate, 35% housebound, 10% bedbound. There are at least 4 different ways that you can use your rating, which I'd like to describe next. As mentioned earlier, having a rating gives you a general idea of your current limits and also suggests how you compare to others with CFS and FM. So let me put that down as general idea of limits and comparison to others. As you can see, the severity overall is pretty dramatic. On average, people in our program, the midpoint would be functioning about 25% of normal. Second, having an overall idea of your limits gives you a baseline, some place to compare to as you move forward and hopefully improve over time. The third and the fourth reasons go together. Your rating can be used as a basis for discussion with your family and friends, and also a way to educate them about CFS and FM. So let me put that down. Basis for discussion and education. I would suggest that in addition to rating yourself, you consider having someone else rate you and compare your ratings. I did this regularly myself for a couple of years, and I found it valuable to get other people's view of how I was doing. Also, the people who rated me said that they understood my CFS better by hearing me explain why I gave myself a certain rating. So the 2-sided ratings were a way to educate others. So there's an overview of the range of limits in CFS and FM. If you'd like to rate yourself more precisely, we have a 0 to 100 scale that you can find on both of our websites. The one on the bottom left, the cfdselfhelp.org, is our self-help program website, and you can find it there on the logs, forms, and worksheets page, which is in the library section. The other URL there down the bottom right is for a site called Treating CFS and Fibromyalgia. It's a site we developed together with Dr. Lapp of the Hunter Hopkins Center, a clinic in Charlotte that focuses on treating people with CFS and FM, and you can find it, the rating scale there, in the self-appraisal section. So I hope you find that helpful. See you at the next video.